The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall, who's giving me a weird look for some reason that I'm sure he'll tell us about, but I'm not sure why. Say hi, Phil.
Hello everyone, and hello Andy Roth. I'm giving you a funny look, literally for the response that I got, which was making you giggle right when you were trying to start the show. It doesn't get any deeper than that. You could try to search deeper. You would come up empty.
That's beautiful.
Empty.
I'm totally okay with that. I am
Good.
totally
Good deal.
okay with
Good
that.
deal. What a good start to the week. Let's just be honest.
Yes,
I'm feeling great.
Yes, it's like it's beautiful and sunny and like low 80s here with no humidity. It's amazing.
Oh wow, I love that.
I know, right?
Before we get jumping on things, I need to make a correction to a statement I made last week, and I just feel awful about it, mostly because I beat myself up about being wrong about minutia. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the death of Elmore Leonard.
Yes.
And we were talking about the things he'd written, and I mentioned that he had written L.A. Confidential. He had not written L.A. Confidential. That's James Ellroy, not Elmore Leonard. And, someone, obviously, no one's commented on that, which means none of our viewers/listeners listen to that show, or read either of those authors, or none of them listened far enough along in a podcast to know the very end what I said. But
Or maybe
either
they
way,
just took your word as gospel. Maybe you just...
that's the reason why I really have to apologize, because I don't want to betray your trust.
Nice. Well played.
Second Breakfast Station.
Well played.
So I want to let everybody know that, as far as I know, James Ellroy is still alive.
And Generalissimo Franco is still dead.
Still dead. It's true. So, anyways, all right. That's all I wanted to say. We should jump into.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what you saw last week, Andy Roth.
Okay, so just to ready for this word that I'm going to make up right now. Just to pre-cap what we're doing today.
Oh, I love that word.
Right? Yeah, I trademark TM.
They're doing that on Grantland right now, though. They're doing Breaking Bad pre-caps every week.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
I know. It's a good word, though. It's a good word. It's good. Right. Keep going.
Phil and I are going to take turns telling you what we saw over the past week, and then we're going to give you our one big thing. Probably movie related, although you can never tell with us. And then we're going to finish off today's show with our latest installment of Project Melway, the jaunty romp edge of darkness.
This light little trifle.
Indeed. The soupçon of joy that is
the greatest date movie of all time.
Oh man, up there with Schindler's List and The Deer Hunter. Yes. Oh.
All right.
So I saw 7 movies this week. I saw Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Much like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, this is a sequel, a first sequel in a series that gets, I think, unfairly maligned. It's a little too jokey. They clearly thought, well, by this time, I think Lethal Weapon 2 had come out, but banter works better than one guy just spouting one-liners the entire time. But the action is great. The action is great. It's similar enough that it's recognizable as a Die Hard movie. It's different enough that it's visually interesting. And Dennis Franz, man.
Listen, I love Dennis Franz. I want to say something about this, though, and I could be wrong. This is because I just came up with it just now.
Okay.
But I think part of the reason Die Hard 2 gets better with time is actually because of the lowered expectations after 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. I think that if you had just if there were only 2 movies in the Die Hard oeuvre, Die Hard and Die Hard 2, you would consistently say, oh, Die Hard 2 doesn't hold a candle to the original. It's fine. It's an okay movie, but the first one's really special. But I think once we started to keep making them, all of a sudden it's sort of like, okay.
My only disagreement with that, Phil, is, and I'm not just being glib here, that would be my response to 95% of action movies, period, when held up against Die Hard.
But that's different because the other ones aren't held up against Die Hard by anyone but you and our friend Daniel. Because the reality is, Die Hard 2 begs to be held up against Die Hard It's called Die Hard 2.
Wrong. Speed begs to be held up against Die Hard. Under Siege begs to be held up against it. For 15,
any movie
20 years,
any movie that copies Die Hard, sure.
Right, but I would argue that 95% of
it's not 95. Come on.
Sure it is. Sure
Andy,
it is.
74% of statistics are made up.
I hate you. The next movie I saw. This is not in order of the movies that I saw. This is not in the order that I saw these movies, but
okay.
I saw Edge of Darkness, our movie for Project Melway.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it more later. I saw Blue Jasmine, the new Woody Allen movie. Guys,
I thought maybe you had.
Guys, everyone said when Match Point came out, it's a return to form for Woody Allen. And if that form is, I want to do something that is a pale shadow of my best work, then yes, he returned to that form. Seriously, guys, I didn't see Midnight in Paris. Okay, yes. I haven't seen it yet. Some people at least loved it. A lot of people didn't.
They did.
Yes, guys, this is a return to form. This is.
Wow.
I believe, and I have long believed actually, that Woody Allen is the American Chekhov, as in he plays in the case of Chekhov and Allen in the case of movies. He makes art about families or circles of relationships that are ostensibly comedies that his best work makes you want to cry.
Yeah.
And sometimes while you're laughing and sometimes when you're just crying. Right. And, Annie Hall, Manhattan, Crimes and Misdemeanors, Interiors, Hannah and Her Sisters, Blue Jasmine. It doesn't, for me, his best two are Annie Hall and Manhattan. It doesn't get up there, but it doesn't take a back seat to anything else he's made.
That's fantastic. I look forward to seeing it.
It is Cate Blanchett. Everyone's playing for second in the Best Actress category.
In the world, I think. She's my favorite.
Sure.
So,
yes.
But that doesn't surprise me. And I've been so cold on Woody Allen for such a long time because he was my favorite. When something's your favorite, then when they fall out of grace,
the rose, it really goes off the short.
So that's how I've felt about him for a long time. But I'm ready to see Blue Jasmine. I saw Midnight in Paris, and it was, I think, ludicrous that people love this movie. Ludicrous. It's not a how about this? It's not a terrible movie, Midnight in Paris.
Nice.
But it's like people. I think it was almost like people had permission to like it because people who don't like watching Woody Allen didn't have to watch Woody Allen. It's like if your favorite cover of a Bob Dylan song is "Make You Feel My Love" by Garth Brooks, or for that matter Adele. It's like that's just because you don't like Bob Dylan's voice and it's the only Bob Dylan song you've ever heard someone else sing. Like,
right.
You need to go deeper, is what I'm saying. And I think
Fair.
like Woody Allen. So, but I'm excited for Blue Jasmine, or at least I'm intrigued, and I believe in Cate Blanchett and your endorsement. I'll get there, especially because you agree with me about Match Point. The fact that you agree with me about Match Point makes me feel very comfortable.
I didn't always. I loved it on first viewing and have liked it significantly less each time I've seen it.
Only because it's terrible and you have good taste. That's the only reason.
I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Also, from that movie, Bobby Cannavale is just he's just great. Peter Sarsgaard's great. Alec Baldwin is great. But the other person I really want to point out is a woman named Sally Hawkins.
Ooh.
She is a British actress.
Yes.
And you know how like you simultaneously want to see some people play against type and you don't?
Oh right? Yeah.
I think she is a phenomenally talented actress that I'm not sure she can play a bad person. I think she is so, it's so dangerous to try and tell what someone's like through their acting performances, but she has just this unbelievably, a sunny disposition is close, but it's not quite what I'm thinking of. But there is a Mike Leigh movie called Happy Go Lucky, and she plays the main character. I'm almost positive, nominated for it, and she should have been. Where she has like just this relentlessly sunny disposition, even as things happen to her that would have made Job go like, seriously, really, and it is, but it's not unrealistic. She is a phenomenal actress, and I really hope she starts getting more work here in the U.S. if she wants it. I want her to do whatever she wants to do because she's in my top 10 actresses, maybe top 5 working today, and nobody knows about her because she's British and she hasn't done a lot of American movies. She is flat out superb in this movie. She has to stand up to Cate Blanchett in maybe her best performance ever, and she does. And then
I'm excited for everything you just said.
Yes. Also, Louis C.K. is in this movie, and he's very good. I don't want to say anything more about it.
I can't wait. Wait. As is Andrew Dice Clay, I believe.
Who is great. God, everyone is good in this movie.
I can't wait. I guess I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it.
Good.
I'm going to see it.
Good.
I'm going to see it.
Do.
I'll go. He'll keep calling me.
He'll keep calling me. I saw the home invasion movie You're Next.
Andy.
I recommended, for those who are not Phil, I recommended that Phil not see this movie. It is terrifying, although there's a lot to recommend it, including the lead female, who I have a crush on, although she could kill me with her pinky.
What is her name?
I don't even know. Sharni Vincent.
Sharni?
Sharni. She's Australian.
Okay. Oh, so it ends up just sounding like Shawnee when you have the accent anyway. That's why. Just put an R in there. No one will say it.
Right. Nice. And the last 2 movies I saw in one day, I saw the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and the movie that came out this past weekend, The World's End. Guys, 3 perfect movies. And I don't know, because I love zombie movies so much, I don't know that any of the 3... I don't know that Hot Fuzz or The World's End could ever beat Shaun of the Dead as my favorite. But from a technical standpoint, it's almost undeniable that The World's End is the best of the 3 movies. There are...
Wow.
Edgar Wright is a truly... it is time to start talking about him in terms of the all-time greats. Because
good for you.
All of his movies...
You're stepping up.
Well,
you're stepping up.
All of his movies are better than the last one, technically speaking. And so it's like whichever one you like the best is the one you like the best. But it's undeniable. I mean, Shaun of the Dead was so confident and great, and obviously I love it. But Hot Fuzz is a more confident and more technically accomplished movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is more accomplished.
Oh, it's my favorite movie of that year.
I think it might be mine too. And The World's End is it blows them all away. It is so confident. It is brave. I will go so far as to say that. I'm not going to talk more about it at the moment. Both because I'll talk about it in a minute, and also because I want to talk about it. I want to have a full podcast on it when you've seen it.
Okay. Well, that's going to be later today.
Good. And that's my story. Those are my 7. What did you see, Phil?
I have a question.
Please.
I watched a movie that I've seen a bunch of times. I turned it on 10 minutes into the movie, but I watched all the way till the end. And I want to count that because it makes sense to me. If you said, have you seen this movie lately? I'd be like, oh yeah, I just watched it the other day and it's phenomenal. But I missed the opening credits and the opening scenes.
There are some movies where I would say no. Like if it's a particularly famous first scene, I might.
Okay, so I'll tell you what the movie is.
Please.
I'll tell you what the movie is. Oh, hey, guess what? My daughter just decided to show up. Look, there she is. Okay.
Hello.
Now, I'm gonna get rid of her. Hey, sweetie pie, go find Mama. Okay. Go on. So the movie's Jurassic Park, and I haven't seen Jurassic Park in years and years, but. All I missed, I turned it on while they were in the helicopters flying to Jurassic Park Island. So I missed literally the opening scene of them digging and him showing up and being like, I've got something to talk to you about.
And the big box locking in, but then unlocking and the guy gets pulled into the raptor thing. But yes, no, totally counts.
So I'm like, which is the most fortunate? By the way, so Jurassic Park, I watched this last night.
Fantastic.
So 3 movies. Jurassic Park is phenomenal, beautiful, fun. Yes. I feel like if you wanted to, and my wife just kept saying it over and over again. She was so funny last night. We were watching this movie, and she just kept saying, "Wow, foreshadowing, 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 foreshadowing." The first 20 minutes of the movie is just them saying the things, setting up the things that are going to go wrong and kill somebody. It's that the whole movie. The first one, we spent no expense. Everything's fully automated. Now I love the movie.
Yes.
But if you were going to show a film student, if you wanted to teach someone about foreshadowing and you didn't want to make them read a book, because come on,
Who wants to read a book?
Come on, just be like, watch Jurassic Park. What's foreshadowing? The first half hour of that film, 40 minutes probably.
That's really well said. I will offer this, although there are significant changes from the book. Michael Crichton, who I enjoy, I do not enjoy for his subtle nuances. So
monkeys with freaking laser beams on their heads, for instance, in Congo, not so subtle.
So you know, I will maybe lay some of the foreshadowing blame at his feet.
I think that's. Oh, but see, here's the thing. It doesn't bother me.
No.
It's just everything that they say. You're like, and that's gonna fall apart, and that's gonna fall apart, and that's not gonna go well, and we'll see how that goes.
That's right.
But it's really well executed in that sense, and just a blast to watch. I watched it after we watched last night's we watched Sunday's Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm. Woof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the credits rolled, and then I was like, okay, something else. And then they were like, I was like, oh look, dinosaurs. It's amazing when Jurassic Park is your palate cleanser.
Sure.
You know. So I watched that. I watched Edge of Darkness for Project Melway, which we'll talk about momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a little film from last year called A 21 Jump Street.
Ah, lovely.
It was delightful.
That's a perfect word for it.
As delightful as a rated R movie where everyone says the F word a lot and gets high a lot can possibly be, that's how delightful this movie was.
Nice.
Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill have great chemistry. They can make another movie together. That would be fine.
Yeah.
The 5 minutes that our guy, Nick Offerman, is on the screen, it just kills me. He just kills me.
Yes.
It's like, I'm sending you downtown. You're going to some place called 37 Jump Street. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right. Every line that he has is amazing. Every line. He's in it for like a minute, and it's just perfect. I love Nick Offerman so much.
Yes.
So yeah, those are my 3 movies, and that's it. I'm gonna go see World's End. Literally, the moment we finish this podcast, I'm gonna go to the movies. Middle of the day, like a not a care in the world, Andy. Not a care in the world.
You have never said anything that has made me more happy than what you just said. You're going to, you'll be a better person. You're about to be a better person than you are right now. I'm just saying.
Forget about it. It's Chinatown.
Nice. Well played.
Thank you.
I do want to point out that in Hot Fuzz at the end, where Nick Frost seems to be on the side of the bad guys, so he pretends to kill.
Oh, right.
Hot Fuzz.
Okay, you freaked me out for a second.
Come on, man. Where he pretends to kill
know.
Simon Pegg. He ends up just putting him in the trunk of the cop car, and he gets him out. They're having a talk. He's like, "Come back with me. We can fight this together." And he's like, forget it, Nicholas. It's Sanford. And I was like, I just realized what that was, and I was
got it.
The only person in the theater to laugh.
Right.
The one. It was me. I was that guy. It was I was that guy.
I think my favorite story of me being the only person laughing. Well, there are two of them. One, of course, was the wood chipper scene in Fargo.
Yes.
But that was, everyone understood it. I was just the only person laughing.
Sure.
And then I laughed out loud at some point during Lincoln, and everyone else in the audience did not laugh at all. And
awesome.
I was like, bah! And then everyone just said, and I was like, what? The Senate scenes are hilarious. Why aren't we all laughing?
Indeed. I laughed at the moment in Argo when Alan Arkin was like, terrorists, have you ever tried dealing with the WGA? I laughed. Only person to laugh. Only person to laugh.
Oh.
So, Phil, what's your one big thing from this last week?
My one big thing is, I'm glad you brought up Argo. It's a gentleman by the name of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck.
Has he been in the news?
What? Ben Affleck, Academy Award-winning screenwriter, Academy Award-winning filmmaker, and phenomenal actor Ben Affleck has been cast as Batman in the new Batman-Superman mashup.
What?
And at least from my end of the world, the interwebs went insane.
Yes.
And what was weird to me about it is the way people were reacting. They were reacting as if it was Ben Affleck 2004.
Yes.
Like they were talking.
The star turn in Gigli.
That's what it was like. No, that's what it was like. People were like offended, and I'm like, what? Do we just forget? Okay, I need to be. we need to talk about a couple things that I want to say for my one big thing for this. Okay, a couple things. One, very simply, he's come back. It's happened.
Right.
He's not
right. We're not waiting for it to finish. He's here.
He's not in the middle of a comeback. He's not. The man won a freaking Oscar. He didn't get nominated for director, but then he got nominated for producer,
which is
absurd.
He wasn't nominated for director. Absurd.
He won the DGA, didn't he? Didn't he win the Directors Guild Award?
Yes.
So best director from last year, even if it wasn't my favorite movie, still I loved the movie.
Indeed.
I loved The Town.
Yes.
I haven't seen Gone Baby Gone. Haven't seen it yet.
Neither have I. It's high on my queue. Okay. Yeah.
It always confuses me with that Violent Femme song, Gone Daddy Gone. I always get confused, so I have to be careful when I say it. But
I'm pretty sure he didn't direct that, though. So.
No. But he directed, he acted in every time he's been acting in these movies, I've loved him. I loved him in Argo. I loved him in The Town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll love him in Batman. I just don't doubt it. So first of all, Affleck is back. And y'all, the attitude is weird because y'all were happy about this a year ago, and now y'all are freaking out. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't make sense to me. 1. 2. Ready for this?
Probably.
This Superman sequel, probably not going to be that great because Man of Steel wasn't that great. And realistically, and hear me out. You know how much I love superhero movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Superheroes aren't that cool. They really aren't. Like, Argo is cooler than Iron Man.
Yes.
Because Argo, it's just, and Iron Man's a blast. I have so much fun, blah, 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 blah. But every single superhero movie is essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fine with that. We love it. You know I'm on board. Avengers was one of my favorite movies that I put in my top 10 last year.
Sure.
But nevertheless, like Argo, like and The Town, I mean, these are movies that like things. Ben Affleck is are you ready for it? He's the one who's slumming it to play Batman in a Zack Snyder movie.
Well done.
We're worried about Ben Affleck playing Batman. What are these Batman fans like? What is their deal? They get so freaked out. Like, oh no, someone's going to play Batman. Yes, for the rest of your life, someone's going to play Batman.
It's true. It's true.
And by the way, and based on history, like the majority of the time, it's not necessarily going to be that great. Even the Dark Knight trilogy, which I love, let's not forget that the entire time Christian Bale was Batman, he was talking like this, I'm Batman.
I'm like I'm the one guy who actually kind of loved the voice. I loved it.
I don't hate the voice, but all the people who are complaining about Ben Affleck also complained about the voice. And the reality is people want to complain about they hated the idea of Michael Keaton.
Yes.
And then when he left, they were like, "Oh, not Val Kilmer."
And they hated the idea of Heath Ledger. Man, pity that didn't work out, huh?
Right. Seriously. So I guess so Ben Affleck is and my brother brought me around on this because we were talking about it, and he goes, "Let's look at it this way," because my brother hated Man of Steel. I didn't, but he hated it. He saw it for free and he still hated it. He goes,
that's when you know your hate is pure.
He was just angry because he was like, I don't need to be yelled at by sounds for 35 minutes at the end of a movie. It's offensive. And the end of Men of Steel is offensive. But anyway, so he goes, the way I look at it is, this is going to make him a bucket load of money, and then he can go make another great movie like Argo or The Town.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's genius.
Yes.
So Affleck will be fun. And the whole he ruined Daredevil. Please don't blame Daredevil on Ben Affleck.
Right, because he was the problem with that movie.
I'm more and more fascinated with Affleck's filmography the more I look back. He made some bad choices.
Yes.
The guy's a good actor.
Yes.
You know, he may not be the greatest. He may not be Cate Blanchett. Right. Then again, let's see what happens.
Have you seen Hollywoodland?
Oh yes, I liked it quite a lot.
It's in the top 15 of my queue. I'm really excited for it. I hear he's great in it. Great in it.
That being said, I saw it once, and that was that.
Okay,
so
no, fair.
I wasn't gonna buy this when it comes out.
Let me put it a different way. I am excited for this movie for Ben Affleck's acting performance. You know?
Because it was the one that was the beginning of the inkling of the possibility of a comeback for Affleck.
Right.
That was the moment. That's when you turn it around, it all hinges on Hollywoodland.
Right. That's right.
This is ridiculous. The Batman Superman movie, guys, it's not going to be good, but it's not because of Ben Affleck that it's not going to be good. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That's my one big thing. Andy, what's your one big thing?
My one big thing is the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy. This is top 5 movie-going experiences of my life, and I went alone. Like, that's weird. It normally, all of my other experiences that I truly loved, I was with somebody. You for Lord of the Rings, my friend Patrick for Jaws. Like, those are the two that spring to my mind. These are 3 perfect movies, and again, you know, in case stunningly you have not listened to every single one of our podcasts, go back to the very beginning and listen to or watch our podcast on Wreck-It Ralph. Towards the beginning, certainly. We define a perfect movie as a movie that cannot tell its story any better than it does. So,
right.
You know,
it doesn't actually mean it's a flawless movie.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with it. Perfection and flawlessness keep getting confused in our society.
Yes, perfection.
They are not the same thing.
The Latin root just means complete. It is. There's nothing else you could put in.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy.
Without changing it in some way.
Yep.
So, Shaun of the Dead, perfect movie. I get why people might. I actually don't get why people might not like it, but I get why you might not love it if you really don't like zombie movies. It is gory. There are scary moments, but it is a movie. Here's the deal about all 3 of these movies, and none more so than The World's End. These movies not only don't insult your intelligence, but they treat you as if you are, like, proactively smart. When was the last time you felt that way in a mainstream movie? I honestly can't remember the last time I felt that way in a mainstream movie. The one that could not in any way be called an indie movie. You know, Blue Jasmine didn't insult my intelligence. It treated me like I was smart. Mud didn't insult my intelligence. Treated me like I was smart.
But these are all independent. These are all independent movies.
The Way Back. Yes, all of these are independent movies. You know, maybe the Gray, which.
No, The Gray would count for me for sure.
But what? No, it counts in terms of not insulting my intelligence. I just don't remember how it came to theaters. Was it an indie movie? But that was the beginning of last year. Film. That was the beginning of 2012.
I can really think about that.
You know.
I mean Argo.
Yes, well played. Yes.
But there's also this thing that, okay, and I think what you're saying makes sense because there's a difference between insulting your intelligence. How do I say this? There are movies that don't insult your intelligence and they just treat you like a human being. But then there are movies that assume you're smart.
Yes.
That's not the same thing. And so I don't know that Argo assumes you're smart, but it treats you like it respects you. It just tells a story.
It doesn't pander.
Right. That being said, there are movies like I think when Clint Eastwood's at his best. Yes. I think when Clint Eastwood is at his best, even when he's at his worst, if he's at his worst, he fails because he's a little too opaque.
Right.
When he's at, if anything, he's going to falter. He's going to falter on the side of like not enough information.
Right.
Which is like, but what a gift.
Which is refreshing. Yes, it's true.
To have someone who's just like, I just assumed too much of you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's the kind of father I'm going to be, by the way.
Nice. I'm sorry.
I just thought you were smarter than you were. So.
Nice. What? I'm just being Clint Eastwood.
Fool me twice. Shame.
Right. These movies, they are, and here's the deal, they do it in a sly way. Like they are engaging you in some, actually even Shaun of the Dead, they're engaging you in some really deep, like meaningful discourses, and they are disguising it. They are putting the pill inside applesauce. Or inside chocolate, so you don't taste it. So you don't even know what's happening to you. Perfect movies, and a word I don't think I used earlier when I was talking about The World's End. The World's End is, without a doubt, the most mature of the 3 movies. It's the most mature movie Edgar Wright has made. I I was already excited for his superhero movie with Ant-Man, and now I don't even know what he's going to give us because I have every because at this point I have every expectation until he proves me wrong in that he just plateaus. I'm going to assume that Ant-Man will be the best movie he's ever made, and I don't know how that's possible. But I didn't know how it was possible for The World's End to be better, technically speaking, not on a technicality. Technically speaking, than any movie he'd made before. Guys, this movie is kind of a miracle, as is the Cornetto trilogy as a whole. I could ramble for 3 hours about each one of these movies. So I will stop here. But
I like it. You've done good work. I look forward to watching it.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about it with you. So yeah, so that's my one big thing.
I need, before we just move on, just to say they need to put an American Tail out on Blu-ray. Because
that's fair. Yeah.
They've got some old crappy edition of it on DVD from like years ago, and my daughter has my old Fievel stuffed animal from when I was a kid, and she's going, "What's this? I want to watch this." And I'm like, "I can't show it to you, honey, because I'm not gonna buy like some crappy $15 version of it that's gonna end up being like, it's coming out on Blu-ray in the next. You come on."
Right. No.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's
about
fair.
that.
That's fair.
Okay. Moving right along.
Next segment up, Project Melway. Project Melway, brought to you by
the Gibsonian Institute.
Tell us about
a shadowy cabal of the world's most powerful men and women of all sorts, brands, stripes, and religions, not just Roman Catholics, who want us to watch, who have commissioned Andy Roth and me to watch every single Mel Gibson movie in chronological order.
Oh, and by the way, guys,
and it's
if the way Phil said that was tedious to you,
yeah, guess what?
You know what? Cry me a river. Okay.
It's starting to feel like illogical order. If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and I wish I didn't. Continue, but you're on a short leaf.
In Soviet Union, Melway projects you.
Well, I don't know if a podcast can jump the shark, but when you're referencing Yakov Smirnoff, I think that might be it. This will be our last podcast.
I feel great about all of this. I really do. I'm not worried about it. So here's the deal. We watched Edge of Darkness. Well, I want to say this. We are palpably close to the end of Mel Gibson's film.
It's true. Can't wait to tell you guys what's coming up, because the list is not long.
I mean, it is we're there. We've got 3 movies, or
We've got 3 movies, and one of them hasn't come out in theaters yet.
So we have two movies.
Yes.
And then, but I think we both know that, well, yes, we've got 2 movies, and then we're going to take a little break, and then, I mean, that's crazy.
I know. I don't even know. I feel like Frodo on Mount Doom. He's like, I see it.
I don't even remember the taste of strawberries anymore.
Or the smell of water. I see it with my naked eye, or my waking eye. I just, yes. So Phil, I may not be able to carry Project Melway for you, but I can carry you.
Are you ready for my? Thank you. Are you ready for my? Are you ready for my one-word review of Edge of Darkness?
I can't wait.
Woof. Just now, here's the thing about this movie that you didn't know. This is the 3rd time I've seen it.
Good Lord. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
So my wife and I saw it in the theater. Which, again, great date movie. So, went home and made a baby. That's not true. So, then we went to the doctor and scheduled my vasectomy, like, immediately.
That's right. Yes.
Just kidding, I will never do that. So we went to, we saw this movie, and here's the thing about the movie. It's called Edge of Darkness.
It is. That is a true statement.
And here's what I said to Andy, and Andy and I are going to talk about this, I think, a little bit, but I argued, no, it's not the edge of darkness. It's right smack dab in the center of darkness. It is a dark, dark movie. Now, you have some, so let me tell you let me give you the plot, okay, for those, a little rundown here. Right. Okay, because since I've seen it more than Andy, let me just tell you what's up. So Mel Gibson,
1 sentence, 2 sentences max. It's not a complex movie. It isn't.
Boston cop's daughter is killed and dad investigates the murder.
Done. Yes.
But it turns into, of course, a corporate conspiracy and
Governmental conspiracy, yes.
And
yes.
spoiler, everybody dies.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
that guy that you saw that in that one scene, he dies.
There's like a guy at the very end who doesn't die, but it's the first time you saw him. And then there's some people in the background at a restaurant. They don't die.
Right. That's right. And one person only gets maimed.
I really, really like this movie, and it did not get good reviews, and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I will never watch it again.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know that I could watch it repeatedly, but I would be up for watching it again. And so let's talk about that.
That's what happened. What happened was my brother hadn't seen it, and I was like, oh, it's actually a pretty good movie. And it had been a year or 2 years. 2 years. I was like, we'll watch that. So we watched that. And then this came around, and I was like, okay, I can't do this to myself again. So,
no, sure. I guess it depends on what you consider dark, because clearly it is not, as I said earlier.
Yeah, I know you took issues with my calling it dark.
Not huge issues, but I think it's worthwhile talking about it anyway. I think it is certainly not a jaunty romp, as I joked earlier, but or did I joke about that on the podcast, or was that when we were talking earlier? Anyway,
I think you said it on the podcast. Yes.
Okay, good. Well, jaunty romp, it is not
actually.
But in terms of darkness, when I personally think darkness, I think things like The Deer Hunter, where you are face to face with the way that life can be truly arbitrary and meaningless, if that makes sense. Whereas this, spoilers, if nothing else, and even if the world at large doesn't end up knowing about it, justice is actually served.
Well, sure, and that's absolutely right. But then again, I mean, to me, it's very similar, and this is where the similarities end. It's like Hamlet in that sense. I mean, everybody dies is the just ending to Hamlet, but that doesn't mean that Hamlet's not dark. I mean, the fact that justice being, I mean, justice isn't served for the dad. The dad didn't deserve to die. I mean, Mel Gibson's character does not deserve to die. He might deserve to die because this was after Mel Gibson had gone on some of his famous rants.
Nice.
And so maybe he deserved to die. But the actual character Mel Gibson plays doesn't quote unquote deserve to die.
So here's okay.
But that being said, all I'm saying is the reason I say it's dark is the movie is unrelenting. Mm-hmm. There's not a moment of there's a couple moments of levity with one character who's probably the most dangerous character in the movie. So he can afford So he can afford to be. He can afford to be that way. And it's all gallows humor. But there's very few there's no real laughs.
Right.
The moral of the story is that our government is corrupt and that corporations are evil, which blah blah blah. Fine. But that's the whole point. So the point is not uplifting. And from beginning to the end, the movie in the first 5 minutes, the daughter is shot with a shotgun. Literally the first 5 minutes. But before that happens, she's already throwing up a lot. And it's in this really foreboding, something's wrong way.
Yes.
And on top of all that, it's in Boston. And nothing good ever happens in Boston. At least not on film.
Did you enjoy college, Phil?
I enjoyed the 2004 Red Sox of Boston, but when they put that on film, the fever pitch happened. So my point stays the same.
Nice.
If something's set in Boston, part of the point of that movie is to show you how depressing the world is.
That's actually a fair point.
There's no happy, jaunty movies set in. Let's just go through a romp in Boston.
Right. Another non-jaunty movie, The Town, set in Boston.
Yeah. The closest you might come is Good Will Hunting, which is a very lovely movie, but very dark in moments.
Yes. So here's my response to the dad doesn't deserve to die. And I agree with you. He doesn't deserve to die. So that absolutely works for your point. The way I guess what maybe not lightened it for me, but made it seem sort of just in the Hamlet is dark, but it's proper way.
Okay.
Is that it is made abundantly clear. Two things are made abundantly clear. One, he's willing to do literally anything inside or outside the law to get what he wants. And there is justice in seeing that character stopped in some way. Even if it's a father pursuing his daughter's killer. Even that. But also, the point is made, I mean, drilled into the ground and then turned into a dead horse so it can be beaten, that his daughter is pretty much all he's got.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, he was kind of an absent, or not absent father, but they had sort of lost touch. So, so this is a man, as much as I hate this phrase, this is a man without just a ton to live for, who was totally fine with this ending in his death.
Yeah, totally, you're right. In that sense, it's true. And they even, but yes, but you've set the premise. There's a man who, from the beginning, the only thing he has in his life is his daughter, and he barely ever sees her.
That's already unbelievably dark. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right.
But that's all. So I think I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know what I was prepared for at the time, but it's a very well executed film. Executed. And so what do you want to say about it? I got a couple things on my list. What's on your list about this movie?
I want to talk about the acting because I think the acting is uniformly great. There's a bit of a spoiler in what I'm about to say. An unheralded actor who I enjoy every time I see him on screen, J.O. Sanders, is in this movie. And I was very excited until his last scene that he was just playing a nice guy. I get the feeling he's a nice guy, but he always plays jerks.
Which guy is J.O. Sanders?
His best friend on the Force.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
and he didn't seem like a bad guy then either.
But
he did the wrong thing.
He did the wrong thing. He does the wrong thing, but he's not a bad guy. But it was like,
it's a great scene.
Yes, it is. But not only was he not a bad guy, he was actively a good guy and a guy that was just decent.
Yeah.
And that kind of.
Then there was that moment. He's like, when he's like, he betrays his friend and he's like, "I've got kids," and Mel Gibson looks at him and he goes, "I don't." In other words, because they killed my daughter.
Right.
And then he's like,
but even so.
But even so, right? And he goes, "But even so." In other words, like,
even if I had,
there's nothing. There's no. Yeah. Oh man.
I would not have done what you did.
Speaking of which,
regardless.
Neither of us are from Boston. Mm-hmm. Both of us have lived in Boston for extended periods of time.
Indeed.
I loved Mel Gibson's Boston accent in this movie.
Me too.
I have a feeling there are people who will hate it and be like, "No one talks like that in Boston." Yeah, you do.
Right.
Like, yes, you do.
No one talks like that in Boston.
There's no one like that there. You're right. We all just make it up. We all just make up a fake Boston accent that no one actually has. People talk like that in Boston.
Wicked pissa.
I have heard people say wicked pissa just like that.
It's true. It's true.
Like, do you know why we joked around about Nomar being Noma? Because there would be people going, "I met Noma." Like, that's a thing that happened in my daily life.
You're not wrong.
So I loved Mel Gibson's accent in this movie.
Something else I want to say, just because I was so pleased to see him, my boy is in this movie. Frank Grillo, man. Frank Grillo.
Oh, was he the slimy hitman?
He's the guy. Yes.
I don't like him, Andy.
I know.
Let me put this. I've never liked him in a movie yet. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying I've never liked one of his characters. Is there a time when someone likes?
I urge you to. What are you doing with you when you get back from the world's end? I want you to sit down and I want you to watch Warrior. You have to.
I will.
It will fill your. It will fill your soul.
I mean, I won't, but I will.
You need
no,
to.
But I will. Okay.
This week, I expect next week. I expect to hear that you have watched Warrior.
Well, it's on Netflix streaming, so I will.
Oh my god! Oh my god! It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
The other thing I want to say about his accent, though, and this is just me heaping praise on Mel Gibson, is that it's not just a Boston accent like he's doing a Boston accent. He manages to do the accent, and this is what I think really good accent work is. He manages to use the accent, but it's not like there's nuance to his voice. Mm-hmm. He's able to maintain acting. Yes. So he's not just doing a funny voice.
That's very well said.
His voice is really tired and old and supple and like interesting in this movie.
There are a lot of shots, and Martin Campbell doesn't always make good movies, but he can direct.
But when he does, he drinks Dos Equis. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Okay. No. Okay. No.
He's British, so my guess would be no. My guess is probably not, right?
Casino Royale.
Yes. Also Green Lantern.
Right.
I mean, so there's that.
Yeah, you gotta the good with the bad.
There are a bunch of shots that end like a split second later than you would think they would, and what you see in those shots is Mel Gibson just sort of, and that's not like the actor relaxing. It is the character being exhausted. I can't count how many times the shot lasts just long enough for you to see him like rubbing his forehead, like, oh, yeah, okay.
And there's something we've seen Mel Gibson do. I think now we're seeing. I think it's actually, I would call it a trait of Mel Gibson as an actor. But you see it in this movie, and I really like it. In one of the one of my favorite scenes in the movie, when he pulls over Danny Houston's character,
yes,
who's in the back of the Bentley, walks up, smashes the window of the driver, and reaches in and pulls his own gun out of the guy. Pulls the gun out of the guy's pocket, punches him, whatever. Gets in the back seat, jams the gun into Danny Houston's character's neck, and Danny Houston is like, legit's terrified.
It's true. Totes.
And then Mel Gibson says whatever he says, which you realize at that moment that he doesn't. At that moment, you realize, oh, there's no legality here, and he's not going to arrest him, and this isn't. And that's really the moment that the movie crosses over for reals.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
But there's this moment that Mel Gibson's so good at that he does where he's like all ferocious, and then all of a sudden nothing happens.
Yes.
But his entire face changes into just complete and utter despair.
Yes.
And he gets out of the car and walks away.
Yes.
He doesn't he doesn't hide that. He doesn't do this thing where he's like, I'm posturing with you. Right. And then walks away and then gets back in his own car and goes, oh. In the midst of holding the gun on the guy, it's the despair that he feels that's just like, I'm not going to kill you right now because I'm too miserable.
Yes. Yes. I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I want to. No, that's not what it is. Phil, that's so well said.
That might be though. You're right. I mean, it's like like this isn't that kind of movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But what he says to him right before he kills him, we're past spoilers at this point.
Yes.
What he says to him right before he kills him, like when he goes, deep in your heart, you know you deserve this. It's like, but he doesn't even say it like joyfully. It's like this like, we need to all know that we're all on the same page here.
Yes.
I'm killing you. You deserve this. Like
yes. Another reason that I like is such a weird word to use with plot points in this movie, but
yeah.
What I like about the fact that he ends up dying is he isn't a superhero. Like stuff happens to him in this movie that would kill a normal man. So you know what? It kills him.
Yeah.
Like Yeah. Like it is heroic how he fights it off long enough.
Right.
And
they do just a little too much of him like limping to get to the house. It's just a little zombie for me, but that's okay.
That's fair.
It's okay.
That's fair. Yes, not a perfect movie.
Once he starts killing people. And it isn't a perfect movie. This movie did not do well. And one of the reasons is it's a very cookie-cutter plot. And it is very unrelenting. It's not very enjoyable.
Right. And I don't think we can ignore the when it comes out in the timeline of Mel Gibson's life.
Oh, totally. Although, and your boy, though, Ebert, completely manages just to be like, whatever, we're going to talk about him we're going to talk about the movie. He does a good job of doing that.
Sure.
I can see why he's your hero because I think that you have always been good at that in a way that I am not.
Thanks for that.
But I mean, it's right after Mel Gibson's. This was the first movie to come out after. No, Apocalypto was the first movie to come out after his arrest. This was the first movie to come out like right after his divorce and as things were getting really ugly.
And Apocalypto, he wasn't visibly in. I mean, there's that too.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
So
I'm going to go ahead and say this is the last time he's going to play a good guy. Unless he's the good guy in Get the Gringo. And I mean, Beaver, it's not really a good guy, bad guy scenario.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
He's look, you'll see it. He's the good guy in Get the Gringo. He is firmly in the anti-hero.
Right. And I think that's where Mel Gibson's career, should it continue to exist,
will go.
His next two movies are villains, straight up villains, and both in tongue-in-cheek movies.
Yes.
But he's the villain.
Yes, he's more of an anti-hero in Get the Gringo than he was in Payback.
Well, in
my opinion, and I've only seen it once, and obviously, and I saw it before.
The movie is a paint by numbers in the sense of what it tries to achieve.
Yes, it is elevated by some great acting.
I just think it achieves it. We haven't mentioned Danny Houston except for I said his name earlier, but we haven't talked about him as an actor.
He's great.
I love him.
Yes, me too.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a movie where he wasn't terrifying.
It's true. It's true. He had no
I mean,
business
his
being
sil-
as terrifying as terrifying as he was in 30 Days of Night, which is a decent vampire movie, but he is straight
he elevates it.
up to
He is a guy. He is a guy that like makes you. I mean, I think about that all the time. Like the first time I really recognized Danny Houston was in 30 Days of Night.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
He makes it, man. He makes that movie worth something really to watch.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
He's in The Proposition, which was an Australian flick, which is again another. See, I haven't seen him in. Does he ever play the good guy in anything?
I don't know that I've seen him play the good guy in something. He is, guys. The Proposition. It is a Western set in the Australian outback, also with Ray Winstone.
Yeah.
With
and Guy Pearce, I believe.
Yes. Guys, this movie is...
Well, it was written by Nick Cave. If you don't know who Nick Cave is, he's a singer and songwriter whose songs are famous for being incredibly dark and brutal.
It's true.
So when he wrote a movie, and then he wrote recently that Prohibition era flick that came out, Lawless. He wrote that.
Right.
So what he does is he writes dark things.
It's true. It's true.
That's just the thing that he does.
Yeah, if you've seen Lawless, Lawless is significantly more of a jaunty romp than The Proposition.
But when Danny Houston showed up in this movie because of my history with him, I was like, oh, so he's the bad guy, huh?
Indeed. And
he does a good job. I think maybe to me the most false part of the whole movie he's in though, when he first meets Mel Gibson and he's ostensibly the good guy and he's playing it straight, and then he's like, I have children. What does it feel like to lose a child? But he does it in a very weird way, and I was like, it's a weird choice. Yeah. But I don't blame him as much as I thought, like, why would you put that in the movie?
Here is my answer, or here is how I think the screenwriter, director, and producer would answer that. He is ostensibly the good guy, or one of the good guys at that point. But we've also heard a lot about his company at that point. And, you know, there's sort of a prevailing opinion, whether true or not.
But he's such a good job. Go ahead.
There's such a prevailing opinion of the CEO has to know everything that's going on in his company, which I don't think is true, but there's no denying that's the conception or the perception of it. Right. So you go into that scene not fully trusting him, and then so when he seems to be the good guy, there is an aspect of it, or at least it was for me, and this is partially because Danny Houston is a good actor, and partially, frankly, because of my history with him, that I was like, the other shoe has to drop at some point. Sure. And then, you know, in what way are corporations evil? They're not evil in like the mustache twirling villain way. They're evil in the cold and heartless way. And what is that question, and how does he ask it? What's that like? You know, it's just, it is the single most heartless, and I mean that truly. Like there is no empathy, there is no sympathy in any syllable of that question. Yeah. That's how I read it. I won't lie. I still basically agree with you because it was jarring. It was
jarring, and the rest of the movie is so paint by numbers in that sense, and that this kind of didn't sit right. But you know, he's. I want to watch everything that guy's in, and I told Andy I didn't realize until later that he's John Huston's son, which makes him Angelica Houston's brother, which basically means not just that he's part of Hollywood royalty, but it's not just royalty like, oh, one day these were people that mattered. Angelica Houston is one of the best actors alive, and John Huston is one of the best filmmakers in American history.
Yes.
And Danny Houston is a really good actor, and that makes me really happy. And I hope to continue to watch him do great things. And I hope he becomes more famous. And I hope he gets shots at doing things that aren't creepy.
I mean, I guess. Sure.
I mean, but if not, it's fine. If not, also.
If not, I will watch him be creepy for the rest of our lives. Yes, that's right. Unless that makes him happy.
There's only two other things I want to say. One is just Ray Winstone is phenomenally fun to watch in this movie.
Yes.
And every line he has is great, and it has the famous line, famous to me line, "Everything's illegal in Boston." Hilarious.
Yes, amazing.
The other thing I want to say is, in terms of male crying, we already said Mel Gibson is the height of male crying.
It's true.
Mel Gibson's daughter gets shot in front of him in this movie, and she's all that he has. You tell me if he turns in a male crying performance. America, you're darn right he does.
It's true, he does. He is. Yes. This, I mean, this was a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. I'm certainly not sorry I finally saw it.
Yeah.
And I would be up for seeing it again. Don't know if I could. I don't know if I could reach. You've seen it 3 times. I don't know if I could reach 3.
Well, that was arbitrary. Now we're done. I mean, it happened, but it was an arbitrary situation. I mean, it just sort of happened.
Right.
I happened upon it 3 times.
Indeed.
Now, here's the thing. Because I'm not going to do another Project Melway with Mel Gibson, so I'm not really worried about seeing it again.
Indeed.
But I will say, Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, this movie.
Yeah.
The Beaver is next.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah. So, folks, here's
Mel.
what we got. Yeah. Mel.
You've got me, Mel. Let's put it this way: you've got me looking forward to Machete Kills, and that's not an easy task.
Nobody wants that. So what we've got going on here's what's coming up on Project Melway the next 3 weeks. The Beaver, which you have not seen.
I have not seen it. You know who's excited to watch this movie?
Who is that?
The wife. She keeps saying, she said she wants to watch it. I told you that. Then she said to me yesterday, you have to get through Edge of Darkness so we can watch The Beaver, right? And I'm like, do you really want to watch this movie? And she says, I really like movies about mentally disturbed people.
It is.
And I was like, well,
it is.
What a weird. First of all, why did I just find this out 5 years into our marriage?
Nice.
Anyways.
I got to be honest, Phil, and I've only seen The Beaver once, and it was a while ago. I feel like it's darker than Edge of Darkness. It's certainly darker in my way.
I believe
like the way I defined it earlier.
I don't doubt it.
Man.
I don't think Edge of Darkness is the darkest movie ever. I just think we should have called it something else.
Fair. So we've got The Beaver next week. We've got Get the Gringo the week after, and the week after that, we got nothing. Because that's the end of all of Mel Gibson's filmography, except for Machete Kills, which doesn't come out until early October. So we're going to take a break.
I'm on his IMDb page right now, and he's listed as a character in the new Mad Max movie.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's interesting to me that would be the case.
It's interesting and also potentially a terrible idea. I think you've got to make a clean break.
I just want to go, before we end this podcast really quickly, I just want to go back and say, in 2000, he made both Chicken Run and What Women Want.
Yes.
Since then, here's his filmography.
Oh boy.
We Were Soldiers, Signs, The Singing Detective, Edge of Darkness, The Beaver, Get the Gringo. Mel.
Right?
I mean, granted, I don't think he could make a comedy now. I just don't think anyone will accept it now.
Yeah, I think you're
really
right.
don't.
I think you're probably right about that.
People hate Mel Gibson.
It's true.
Hate.
It's true.
And from what I've seen in the press, he doesn't look like he shows any signs of lightening up.
Guys, there's a video I want you to watch. It's a YouTube video. It's less than 5 minutes long. I don't remember exactly how long. It is Robert Downey Jr. talking about Mel Gibson and how Mel Gibson helped him when RDJ was at his lowest. And it is, I mean,
I'm gonna find it right now.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because Robert Downey Jr. seems to be a truly genuine guy, and he wouldn't. And every time you think of Mel Gibson as the guy who is drunk.
Was this him talking at an awards ceremony?
Yes. Every time
watch that.
Yes. Every time you see him as the drunk, crazy, anti-Semitic, woman bashing guy, you just to be a complete person, not Mel Gibson, you have to remember the fact that, yes, I get it, actors aren't actually people, ha ha ha, it's funny, but at all of these Hollywood events, people sit with him. People consider him a friend, and I'm not saying he deserves to be absolved for his sins.
People of all colors, people of all races and genders, and all that stuff.
And religions.
I mean, Jodie Foster is ostensibly an agnostic lesbian woman.
Yes.
Who adores Mel Gibson. Like that's, come on.
I'm not saying he deserves to be absolved for his sins, but no one is all black or all white.
Yeah, right.
Shades of gray.
Shades of gray. Edges of darkness.
Well played. We'll end there.
And with that,
see. Folks, this has been another Second Breakfast podcast. We'll see you again later this week. I'm Andy Roth, and that's Phil Duvall. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.